What's up, everybody? FTWitachi here. You know what it is. Thank you all very much for tuning in to our updated guide for Demonology Warlocks in patch 9.1. A little bit of a quick overview. Of course, Demonology Warlocks, DPS spec with a primary stat of Intellect. It's a commander of demons who twists the soul of his army into devastating power. Preferred weapon choices of Staff, Wand, Dagger, and Sword, and of course with the main spells and abilities of Shadow Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, Summon Felguard, Call Dreadstalkers, Implosion, and Summon Demonic Tyrant. Just to give you all a heads up, we will be covering both Affliction and Destruction as well. So stay tuned for those patch 9.1 updated versions of their guides pretty soon. We will also be covering all three specs into the Covenant Guide. We will be doing the same thing for Soulbinds, Conduits, and Legendaries, all for patch 9.1. And once we've gotten the core Shadowlands guides released, we will be getting into more in-depth guides for certain situations. For example, in-depth Mythic Keystone guides, in-depth PvP arena guides, in-depth PvP rated battleground guides, so on and so forth. We will be going into deep details with specific specs only and into those specific areas of expertise. So, without further ado, let's get into Demonology Warlocks for patch 9.1. Alright, everybody, so we're going to be starting off with the stat priority. Just to give you a heads up, these guides, the Destruction, Affliction, and Demonology guides, they're all going to be kind of like a starter guide for those of you that are, especially if you're brand new to Warlocks, but even if you're not brand new to Warlocks and you're looking for an idea on where to start, what to do, what to look forward to in this given patch, that's what these guides are going to be covering. Is the stats priority, the consumables that you should be looking into, your talents, and of course your rotation, so on and so forth. And then we'll be getting into the more deep details in the specific scenario guides that we will be doing later down the line. But this is basically the basic overview and the standard guide to each and given spec. But starting off again with the stat priority. First of all, in PvE situations, which is raiding, mythics, pretty much questing, all that type of stuff, you're going to want to, of course, go with your main priority stat of Intellect over Mastery, over Haste, over Crit, over Versatility. And then when it comes to PvP situations, it's pretty much going to be the same exact thing, but you're going to be bringing that Versatility up the ladder. So it'll be Intellect over Versatility, over Mastery, over Haste, over Crit. Next up, we're going to be getting into all of the consumables that you should be looking into as a Warlock in general. For your gem, you're going to want to go with, of course, the Masterful Jewel Cluster. For your flask, you're going to want to go with the Spectral Flask of Power. For your potion, the Potion of Spectral Intellect. For food, you're going to want to use the Feast of Glutinous Hedonism if your raid group or PvP group, PvE group, whatever you're in, is offering that. Otherwise, you're going to want to bring in your own food of iridescent ravioli with applesauce. Sounds yummy in the tummy. Extras, we got the Shadow Core Oil as well as the Heavy Desolate Armor Kit that you can go ahead and apply. These do not remove any given enchants that you have on those slots, so you can just go ahead and stack those. For your rune, you're going to want to go with the Veiled Augment rune. For your enchant ring, you want to go with Tenet of Mastery. For your enchant chest, Eternal Stats. Enchant weapon, Celestial Guidance. Enchant cloak is going to be Vitality, which is pure stam. Enchant boots, you're going to want to go with Speed of Soul, and for Shadowlands, your boots enchants are going to be agility based. So if you can go ahead and utilize your Speed of Soul enchant. For bracers, this is going to be the Intellect slot of enchants in Shadowlands, so you're going to want to go with Eternal Intellect. And for gloves, it's the Strength slot for Shadowlands. However, if you have a Gathering profession, you can just go ahead and throw on Shadowlands Gathering. Alrighty, next up we're going to be getting into the talents for a Demonology Warlock. I have three doable setups that you can currently play, and one of them has been buffed from the previous patch, which was the Dreadstalker only build. The traditional spec as well as the Nether Portal spec didn't really get touched too much. But in PvP, the Nether Portal spec has gotten a slight buff, but I wouldn't say it got too much of a buff that it's going to make it like super viable, but it is still a fun spec to play, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the examples on how to play that one anyways. So, without further ado, let's start off with the first tier of talents. We've got Dreadlash, Battle Scourge Bombers, as well as Demonic Strength. When it comes to Dreadlash, you're mainly going to be using this in the Dreadstalker only build. Otherwise, it's pretty much a dead talent. Battle Scourge Bombers and Demonic Strength are the two more priority usage talents out of these. With Battle Scourge Bombers being ahead of Demonic Strength on multi-target fights and multi-target situations, and in pretty much anything single target, you're going to definitely want to go with Demonic Strength. So all three of these talents are useful. However, Battle Scourge Bombers and Demonic Strength are going to be used more by Warlocks, because most people are not playing the Dreadstalker only build. However, if you are playing the Dreadstalker only build, you're going to go with Dreadlash. Next up for tier 2, you got Demonic Calling, you got Power Siphon, and you've got Doom. So when it comes to the traditional setup, the traditional spec, you're definitely going to want to go with Demonic Calling, because that is the best talent in this tier out of the 3 talents. Also, for the Dreadstalker build, you will be going with Demonic Calling as well. However, if you are going to be playing the Nether Portal build, Power Siphon is a mandatory must-take, while Doom is pretty much the third and bottom tier or bottom bin talent in this row, which you will never be using in pretty much any situation. So again, in tier 2, Demonic Calling for the traditional and Dreadstalker only build, and Power Siphon for the Nether Portal build. In tier 3, you've got Demon Skin, Burning Rush, and Dark Pact. These are situational. There's no specific one that you can choose. Dark Pact is great in PvE situations when you know you're kind of going to be screwed, or you just want to sit there like a McDumbo, like I do sometimes, and just take damage. So just go ahead and throw a Dark Pact and sit and shit. That's where Dark Pact comes in play. However, if you don't really want to worry about a defensive cooldown and you're good on your toes and you're moving out of crap, but sometimes might take a tick here and there, Demon Skin is, over a long period of time, going to outweigh the mitigation and the damage mitigation than Dark Pact. Dark Pact is more of a, oh shit, I'm about to take a bunch of damage, let's use Dark Pact. While Demon Skin is just an absorption over time, while Burning Rush is good in PvE situations when you want to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. It's also great if you're in a very, very high key Mythic Keystone group that is pushing, and they've got a bunch of speed usage classes in the group, and you want to go ahead and stay in up with them. Definitely go ahead and drop in a Burning Rush. But again, all three of these talents are very situational, so there's nothing mandatory here. Next up, tier 4, you got From the Shadows, you got Soul Strike, and Summon Vile Fiend. So, when it comes to the Dreadstalker only build, of course, you're going to want to go with From the Shadows. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that one. However, when you're going with the traditional spec, when you're going with the Nether Portal spec, you're pretty much always going to be taking Summon Vile Fiend. The damage from Summon Vile Fiend is much greater than Soul Strike, and I just absolutely love Summon Vile Fiend, just because it's an extra demon anyways, but it does outweigh Soul Strike in any which way, shape, or form. So I strongly suggest Summon Vile Fiend for the traditional setup as well as the Nether Portal setup. Next up, it's another setup of tier talents where they're kind of situational. You got Dark Fury, you got Mortal Coil, and you got Howl of Terror. Now, Howl of Terror is kind of dead out of these 3, just because it's on GCDs a lot, and it's just kind of dead. However, if you're gonna use it in a situation like a rated battleground or something. In arenas, it's pointless. In duels, it's pointless. In PvE, it's technically just pointless. Because in PvE situations, you're going to want to go with Mortal Coil. You're not really going to take too much of a effect of the incapacitating of a boss. I wish you could, but you can't. But that 20% of health is an absolute banger defensive cooldown. And the other 2 choices are kind of dumb in PvE situations. And Mortal Coil is also very, very nice in PvP compared to the other 2 as well. So, especially in duels and arenas, Mortal Coil is like pretty much your go-to here. And in Dark Fury, of course, in rated battlegrounds, it's kind of nice, and especially in PvE fights where there's a bunch of ads that you can stun, and you need to slow them and all that type of stuff. So Dark Fury is also very nice in PvE and PvP as well. So again, these 3 talents are very situational. Next up, we've got Soul Conduits, Inner Demons, as well as Grimoire Felguard. Now, the traditional spec always uses Grimoire Felguard. Just throwing that out there, it is the best talent out of the three by far. However, with the Dreadstalker build, you're going to want to go with Soul Conduit because the Soul Shard, 15% chance to be refunded, works very, very well with the Dreadstalker build talents and the Dreadstalker build rotation in general. And then, of course, you got Inner Demons for the Nether Portal build. The reason why you're using Inner Demons is because of Power Siphon. You pretty much can, if you're going to use Power Siphon, you're using Inner Demons. If you're using Inner Demons, you're using Power Siphon. And I strongly suggest using these two talents anyways for the Nether Portal build. And then last but not least, we've got the final setup here. Sacrifice Souls, Demonic Consumption, and Nether Portal. Well, of course, Nether Portal is in the Nether Portal build, so that's a given. And when it comes to the other two, Demonic Consumption is pretty much your go-to talent anyways on this bottom tier, as it beats Nether Portal for sure, and of course it also beats Sacrifice Souls. Sacrifice Souls is a dead talent, pretty much just like Doom, so you'll probably never use it, but Demonic Consumption is used a lot in the traditional setup, as well as the Dreadstalker build. So, to give you a quick recap on the core talents for Demonology Warlock, for the traditional spec, you're going to be using Demonic Strength in single target and Battle Scourge Bombers on multi-target fights. On the second tier, you're going to be going Demonic Calling. On the third tier, you can use any of the three. However, I just strongly suggest Demon Skin. The next one, you're going to be going Summon Vile Fiend. After that, I strongly suggest Mortal Coil, but again, these are very, very situational. Then you're going to be going Grimoire Felguard, and then Demonic Consumption. When it comes to the Dreadstalker only build, you're pretty much going to be staying on the left-hand side, so it's going to be Dreadlash into Demonic Calling, into Demon Skin, again, situational, into From the Shadows, another situational tier, so Mortal Coil, and then you're going to be going into Soul Conduit, back into Demonic Consumption. And again, that's the Dreadstalker only build. And then when it comes to the Nether Portal only build, you're going to be going with Battle Scourge Bombers for multi-target and Demonic Strength for single target. You're going to be going with Power Siphon into Demon Skin, into Summon Vile Fiend, into Mortal Coil, into Inner Demons, and last but not least, Nether Portal. But again, the Mortal Coil and the Demon Skin tier, those are very situational. You can use whichever way you want. So yeah, those are the three setups. Next up, we're going to be getting into PvP talents. Ready, team? Yeah, boy. PvP talents. Let's go. I'm pretty much just going to give you like a trash or pash type of vibe. A lot of PvP talents are situational. You're going to be interchanging them all the time. Duels, arenas, battlegrounds, world PvP, all so on and so forth. So starting off with Call Fell Hunter. Invoke the power of the Fell Hunter from the Nether to instantly spell lock the enemy. Call Fell Hunter cannot be used if the current pet is the Fell Hunter. Makes total sense, because otherwise why would you want Call Fell Hunter? It's a very good ability in duels and arenas, and you know you're facing off against a spellcaster, or healer, of course, spellcasting. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. Pleasure through pain. To be honest with you, it's pointless, because there's so many other ways to spell lock. Not really spell lock, not interrupting or preventing that spell from being cast, but there's so many other ways to interrupt and keep them locked down as a Demonology Warlock. You don't really need Call Fell Hunter. Next up, Pleasure Through Pain. While the Succubus is active, already dead. Let's move on to the next one. There was a build I tried with this because it increases 15 shadow damage, but no, it's dumb. Ignore it. Call Fell Lord, my boy. My G. You know, I'm going to summon him just for this part of the video. My man right there. Look at him. Sadly looking backwards. He might be camera shy, but it's all good. Call Felllord gets a buff, my G's. Summon a Felllord to guard the location for 15 seconds. Any enemy that comes within 6 yards will suffer 5.5k physical damage, and players struck will be stunned for 1 second. He got a buff, and he deals damage. Let's go. He's my G. It's also nice paired up with some other stuff I'll get to in a bit. Master Summoner, your call Dreadstalkers is now instant cast. Now this is just God mode talent. I wish it was just fucking mandatory, like just permanent, but it's a talent and I hate it. I don't hate the talent. I just hate that it's a freaking talent. It should Call Dreadstalker should be instant. Get away. Master Summoner. Oh, sorry. Bane of Fragility. Reduces the target's maximum health by up to 15% for 10 seconds. Dead. Gateway Mastery. Increases the range of Demonic Gateway by 20 yards and reduces the cast time by 30%. Reduces the time between how often players can take the Demonic Gateway by 15 seconds. Love it, but it's dead comparing it to the actual good talents. Amplify Curse. This used to be like a mandatory for Warlocks. It probably still is, but I'm having fun playing with the new talents, so bye-bye Amplify Curse. It's an increase to your curses, and it was kind of like Affliction, Destruction, and Demonology Warlock. If you did not have Amplify Curse, you were not a PvP Warlock. Let's put it that way. But I'm having fun with the new talents, so I'm skipping it, but again, it's up there. Nether Ward. It's a defensive cooldown, so it surrounds the caster with a shield that lasts 3 seconds, reflecting all harmful spells cast on you. Sadly, it only lasts for 3 seconds, so that makes it dead. However, you're only using this situationally against spellcasters, so if you want to use it, you can. If you're dueling a freaking mage, go ahead, Nether Ward it up. Essence Drain. It's dead for Destruction and Demonology Warlocks. Absolute dead. Affliction Warlocks is actually a decent talent if you're using the Drain Life filler build, but whenever you heal yourself with Drain Life, the enemy target deals 5% reduced damage to you for 10 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. Now, comparing it to the other talents, dead. Casting Circle. It got a buff, but it's still trash. Summons a Casting Circle for 12 seconds. While within the Casting Circle, you are immune to silence and interrupt effects. Don't use it, please. Shadow Rift. My new baby. My new tame. Conjure a Shadow Rift at a targeted location that lasts 2 seconds. It is actually really quick. Enemy players within that rift will... when it expires, will be teleported to your demonic circle, but you must be within 40 yards of that demonic circle to cast it. So, World PvP, you probably won't be using this unless you're trolling. Demonic circle, edge of the cliff, shadow rift, move the target to the edge of the cliff, they walk off, you emote, you /flex, and you laugh at the freaking hell of them. You post it on TikTok, you get 1,000 views. You loving life. Yes, 1,000 views is big time for me. It's very fun for Eye of the Storm, team it up with a Druid knockoff, a Shaman knockoff, all that type of stuff. Same thing for Lumber Mill. There's a lot of play with Shadow Rift, and you will be seeing my plays with it. Don't you worry. I've already been messing around with it, and I love it. Call Observer. Summon a Demonic Observer to keep watchful eye over the area for 20 seconds. Anytime an enemy within 20 yards casts a harmful magical spell, the Observer will deal up to 5% of the target's maximum health and shadow damage. So, it's nice. I love it. And it fell Obelisk. Holy shit, did Blizzard give us something fun. First of all, I'm gonna cast this too, just so you guys can see how cool this is. Look at that. Look at the Legion-rific tingy over there. Anyways, summon a fellow obelisk with 5% of your maximum health. Now that's just shit. It has 2k health. So you can, the enemy player can turn off their PC and that thing will die. But anyways, empowers you and your minions within 40 yards. So this is already bangers. We've got all the minions. We got the Observer. We got the Fellow. We got the Vile Fiend. We've got the Imps. We've got the Bile Scourge bot. No, I'm joking. We've got the freaking Wrath guy, my Fel G. We've got the Tyrant. We've got everything that comes from the Nether Portal. They're all getting buffed from the Fel Obelisk. Let's go. Increases attack speed by 20%. Bam, bam. And reduces the cast time of spells by 20%. Bam, bam. That's for me and the minions. Let's go. Free Bloodlust. Not as great, but free freaking Bloodlust. 45-second cooldown. It lasts for 15 seconds. The cooldown starts right away. Once it's gone, it's only 30 more seconds to summon another one. I absolutely love this stupid thing. It's awesome. World PvP. Bangers. Arenas. Hide the hell out of this thing. Enemy team doesn't know where it is. Bangers. In Battlegrounds. It's so chaotic in Battlegrounds. If you know where to place this thing, bangers. Let's go. Absolutely love the Fel Obelisk. Alrighty, everybody. Next up, we're going to be getting into the single target Demonology rotation. Now, we're not going to be taking into consideration potions. We're not going to be taking into consideration PvP talents, trinkets, all those types of stuffs, on-use abilities. And the reason being is those are very, very situational, and not everybody is going to have that specific item. we're just going to be going over the traditional Demonology single target rotation, and as you can see, my character is doing this in the background based off of the current build he is currently playing. So you're going to want to start off with pre-casting Demon Bolt and go ahead and cast your Covenant ability on cooldown. You want to apply Doom whenever available if talented. You want to go ahead and cast Nether Portal whenever available if talented. Cast Summon Vile Fiend whenever available if talented. Cast Grimoire of Felguard whenever available if talented, and also cast your Demonic Strength whenever available if talented, as well as your cast Soul Strike whenever available if talented. You're going to go ahead and cast your Call Dread Stalkers whenever available. You're going to cast Hand of Gul'dan with 3+ Soul Shards in the bank. You're going to go ahead and cast Demonic Tyrant whenever available. Be sure to have Vile Fiend Dreadstalkers and of course as many imps out as possible. Recommendation of 6+. Cast Demon Bolt if you have 2+ stacks of Demonic Core. Cast Power Siphon to generate Demonic Core. Cast Shadow Bolt as a filler to generate your Soul Shards, and don't forget to utilize your Summon Fel or Wrathguard abilities. And when it comes to multi-target, it is pretty much the exact same thing as your single target Demonology rotation. With pre-casting of Demon Bolt, you're going to go ahead and cast Covenant ability on cooldown, apply Doom whenever available if talented. Cast Nether Portal whenever available if talented. Cast Summon Vile Fiend whenever available if talented. Cast Grimoire of Felguard whenever available if talented. Cast Demonic Strength whenever available if talented. Cast Soul Strike whenever available if talented. Cast Call Dreadstalkers whenever available on cooldown. Cast Hand of Gul'dan with 3+ Soul Shards. Cast Demonic Tyrant whenever available, but be sure to have your Vile Fiend Dreadstalkers and as many imps out as possible. This is also going to help you later on with another multi-target ability. Cast Demon Bolt if you have 2+ stacks of Demonic Core. Cast Power Siphon to generate your Demonic Core. Cast Shadow Bolt as filler to generate Soul Shards, and don't forget to utilize your Summon Fel and Wrathguard abilities. Now when it comes to the multi-target portion, you're going to want to go ahead and cast Battle Scourge Bombers whenever available, of course if talented, which you should have on a multi-target fight or of course on trash packs in most situations. And of course you're going to want to go ahead and cast Implosion when there's 2+ targets are active and you have enough imps to go ahead and blast, with a recommendation of at least 3 to plus, but I go ahead and do at least 5. Thank you all very much for tuning in to our patch 9.1 guide. Again, as stated in the beginning of the video, please stay tuned for the rest of the guides to come out. Soulbinds, Covenants, Conduits, Legendaries, so on and so forth, and we will be releasing more in-depth guides in specific situations such as Mythic Keystones, specific PvP situations such as 1v1 duels, 2s, 3s arenas, of course rated battlegrounds, so on and so forth. So stay tuned, have a wonderful day everybody, please like and subscribe, and catch you all next time.